Hi everyone, so today I will talk about the two voices that we have within ourselves. As you can see, I already filmed my first video yesterday and it was picture number one, but I skipped to three. I will not go in order. Eventually, hopefully, I will show all of them, but I will just use the figure that I need based on what I want to share that day. And today I want to talk about the two different voices that we have within ourselves. One is the voice of our ego, based from our conditioning and coming from our upbringing, our culture, the media, our family, and our friends. And the other one is connected to the divine, to our intuition, and it's speaking us in different way. One is directing us toward mainstream, toward what everybody's expecting from us. And for most culture in the Western world, that means studying hard, having a good job, kids, a house, etc. And the other path, then it's not necessarily defined, but it's to remove everything that we've been told that we are, everything that we've told that we should be doing. So it's not as clear, it's not as defined, but it's just the removing of all our conditioning depending on the religion, on the place where we were born, where we grew up, the kind of parent we had, etc. And what I want to express with this is that for most people is we able to act differently than our programming, usually when for the first time we are posing what we've been doing repetitively as a routine. So say for instance, before COVID, most people were just working 9 to 5 and having vacation 2 weeks a year, and it was fine. And for many people, COVID was the first time in their life where, for an extended amount of time, they didn't have nothing to do, or they had to pause their routine, and they could reflect on their own if they were not scrolling mindlessly on their phone. And for other people, we are taking vacation for a few months or a sabbatical years, and this is when stuff are happening inside us and make us question the path we take, make us question if we're on the right journey. And a lot of people who are strong-minded will question that feeling, that intuition, because it's worrisome if we're not focusing on the career. It's worrisome if we're spending without earning, if we're not thinking about the future, because the ego, the programming, is already many steps ahead. And it's good if we feel that family and a 9 to 5 job, it's for us. But when we feel that it doesn't fulfill us, or even worse, that it's poisoning us or making us sick, and we believe that we cannot break free from it, then that's how the condition of mainstream is so strong. And that pausing is usually the best solution. What I usually give as an example is a beautiful, crazy experience I had when I climbed one of the biggest mountains in my life. I used to rock climb, big mountain in one of my past life. And when I climbed El Capitan in Yosemite, which is a 1,000-kilometer shield of granite in Yosemite National Park in California, United States, I had a amazing experience. Me and my friend at the time, we were young, inexperienced. I was 25 at the time. I think it was in 2005, so over 20 years ago. And I just started this kind of big wall climbing, so I was already it was where I was at, but still I was pushing my limit at the time. And my friend was it was even younger than me, but stronger, came out from the army. He was an American that I didn't know that much from before, and we're just two young, motivated climber ready to climb that mountain. And we trained for a week, and then we decided to go. We're too innocent to know the danger. We just knew that we didn't want to take a careless risk, so we asked people who had more experience to kind of guide us to what to bring and not to bring. And then we were young, we didn't have so much more money, so we only bought the minimum amount of gear. My friend duct taped it twice is a bag that he found at the army, so we could carry it, because we were expecting to go 3 days in the mountain. And then so we have to bring water, we have to bring food, we have to bring camping gear to sleep on the wall, and all our climbing gear, obviously. And so we're set to go, and everything goes well at the first day. And the first day was the hardest because we climbed 18 hours in a row from, I don't know, 4 in the morning to like 9 p.m. And on the last pitch, last meter, my partner told me, hurry up, the bag that I was holding was leaking water. And I rushed up, and by the time we unpacked everything and we looked up inside the bag, our biggest canister lost all its water. We didn't have money to bring proper big wall gear, and so we just fill up a 4-liter milk jug that we just, I don't know, either refine it or we drink it, and we fill it up with water, but it's not meant for big wall climbing and then being tossed out on the wall and so it just ruptured. And for the one that doesn't know, we brought 14-liter, so 7-liter each, and we're expecting to be on a mountain for 3 days. So it was 2 liter of water per person, and for 3 days, and we had 1 liter as a bonus. And on that first day, we had 14, and then we lost 4, so we ended up with 10 liter. And those are not easy days, those are not casual days, those are like 16 to 18 hour sweating our balls, either climbing or holding the bag. And so it's extremely physical. At the time I was even pushing my limit beyond what I ever climbed in my life, because I never climbed multi-day on a wall like that before. Same with my partner. And so also we lost a big piece of gear that cost me $150 on that first day. So we managed to reach the ledge where we wanted to sleep on the first day, but we lost a big piece of gear and we lost 4 liter water. And then we decided to keep pushing and then just ration. So every pitch after the subsequent day, we were drinking literally 1 sip an hour or 2. So we're just rationing everything. And on the second and third day, we ended up going much slower than expected, and ended up believing that we're gonna need a 4th day. And in the end, it ended up taking us 4 days and a half instead of 3 days, so 50% longer. And we only brought food for 3 days, and we lost 4 liter water on the first day. So we had 10 liter for the 2 of us for 4.5 days. We didn't drink until the summit. We didn't drink for the last 20 hours, so almost a full day. And we didn't eat for 30 hours. And the 3rd and the 4th day, we rationed our food because we knew we were gonna run short. So it was smaller meal. Anyway, and at the top, we arrived at the top, and we thought that we're exhausted, but we were super excited because we just climbed the biggest mountain in life, so we were super stoked, took some summit picture. And then I told my partner, I'm gonna pack and then pull out the map to go down, and then we can wrap down, because it was about 2 p.m., 3 p.m, so we had daylight until 7, so we just had enough to wrap down to the bottom if we were fast enough. And my friend told me, he's like, well, you just told me to print page, say for example 138, to 142, and 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 he didn't give a second thought. And those page were not somehow lined up with the ascent and the descent. It was the history of the climb and the way up. And so we didn't have the map to go down, which is extremely important because we're in the open mountain and there's no real repair. It's not like there's places where it's really obvious where you have to go down, but where this is not the place. And so, and most over, it's mid-April. We're the second party of the year to ever climb that mountain. And before that, the season is closed. So there was one party before us, which we didn't know. We just knew it happened. And so, and because it's really cold on the top, and then we're the second party of the year, and nobody had climbed it except the two of us. Year. What it means is that the plan B for us to go down, since we didn't have the map to go down, which is the easiest way, which would have took us about, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours, was to walk 8 miles all the way back to campground. And where it should have been fine in the summertime, but because we're in April, there was still snow on the top. And because it was snow, and because it's Yosemite in Canada, where I'm from, famous trails are marked with a piece of metal that's reflective on a couple trees, so you can find your way even in the winter. But in the top of Yosemite, they don't have that. They're not allowed to put some stuff on a tree, so they make canes, and canes is just piles of rock piling up on top of each other, which delimitate and mark a trail. But the problem is that in April it's covered with like a meter or two of snow, so it was impossible to see them. And then when we find one, we get lost, and then we come back. We're so inefficient. We were lost, and my friend told me that it was already 7. It was starting to get dark, and I told him we have to find a cave to BV. We didn't have a tent, and he didn't agree. He said we should keep walking. He's like, dude, it's like we have no idea where we are. We're so lost. And like at daytime, if it's pitch dark, even if we had headlamp and we still had battery, we didn't know which left or right was the right direction. It's like there's 99% chance that we're going to be walking in the wrong direction. And mind the fact that we were carrying at least, I don't know, 40 kilo each of material still, and we're undernourished. For water, we're fine because we're just swallowing snow, or there was probably creek that we drink the water from, unfiltered, but it's up in the mountain, so it's fine. Long story short, he decided that I was right, so we BV there. We made a fire, and then thought it was crazy, but we passed out a little bit. And then when I kind of got up, I saw that the sole of my shoes I was trying to dry just melt up into a ball of plastic, and I was just desperate. Also, the sole of my shoes, which they were not new shoes, they were like totally messed up shoes, but they were just shoes that I needed to go down the mountain. And you cannot wear your climbing shoes to go down; they're too small. And then we passed out eventually, fall asleep, and wake up in the morning, 6:30. And then what we saw would have probably like make that country skier happy, but for us it make us more desperate their situation, because we had, and when we woke up there was 10 centimeter or 4 inch of fresh snow that just fell off during the night. And we had to take a decision. My friend wanted to drop all her gear so we could walk faster. And at the time, we're both like in the early 20s. That was all we owned. It was like there was probably $5,000 of gear, and back then, it was a lot of money for both of us. And I told him, because his idea was that we go run to safety, and then we eat, and then eventually in Cambodia we come back. I told him, it's like there's 0.0 chance that if we find home that we ever find back where we left our stuff, where it's like in the middle of nowhere, we'd have nothing to mark the trail. And so I told him, if we leave it, we have to think that we're never going to see it again. So I made a deal with him. I say, we have 12-hour daylight until 7 p.m. at midday, which means it's like, I don't know, 1 p.m. I told him if we haven't find the trail back to the campground, then we drop our bag and then we have half a day lightweight to go find the campground. And he agreed. And exactly like midday when we're on the fence of dropping our stuff, we hear tourists and we're not down yet, but at least we find a trail and we're on the way down. And so in total, I think it took us 5 days, 5 days and a half. And what I'm going with this story is I didn't realize back then, but I've used this story many times about the way of how I feel when I'm lost in my life. Because I was lost in the mountain, and when we woke up the morning after, not only it had 4 inch of fresh snow, but it also the sky was super overcast. And we at the time that was like 2005. There's no cell phone, we don't have GPS, we don't have compass, we have nothing. And we're up in the mountain, and then we have no idea exactly where direction. I think we were lost like in a matter of like 270 degrees as to know where to go. And so what we would do is to like hike up the closest hill around, and then we would go on top and then wait there for clearing. And sometimes it would take 5 minutes, sometimes up to like half an hour, 3/4 an hour. And then we had a clearing sometime for a few minutes, but sometimes it tarry for a fraction of a second. And when I say a fraction of a second, is the cloud were moving so fast in the sky that it would create opening and closing through the light of the cloud. And for a fraction of a second, we could see, oh, waterfall there, oh, this summit. And because we knew in the valley the orientation where those markers were, we knew we could position ourselves where we were and where we need to go. And so for a moment we could walk toward the no, and eventually we would go up and down and then and it would be covered in cloud again, and we would be lost. And then we'd do the same thing again, find the closest hill, hike on top, and then wait for a clearing. It clears up, oh, we are here, this is what is there, and then we have to go this way, and then we keep walking. And we did that multiple times throughout that day, throughout the 2 days that we were with us. And this gave me, many years later, this happened in 2005, and during my spiritual journey, or even before that, I always realized that when we're lost in life, we have the tendency to think that, oh, am I just gonna take this course? I'm just gonna go something else until I figured it out. And we forget that pausing. It's like the same thing as when we're young. When we're a kid, our parents say, if you're lost, if we lose me in a public setting, your goal is not try to run around to find your parents, but to stay exactly where you are. And your parent, when they want to backtrack their step and then find you. And I think this is what we have to do, that when we're lost and we want to take a different direction in life that's more meaningful to us, we have to be comfortable to pause, to do nothing, and allow clarity to come to us the same way as the cloud open up. And when we see clarity, it doesn't mean that we need to see far, or we know exactly where to go, but that the next step we're taking is toward the right direction. And in life, I don't know, it could be a job, it could be a connection, it could be a course, it could be a trip somewhere. And that first step can bring you to discover or meet somebody important that bring you to the next step and the next step. But it's important that we are going toward clarity, even if it's cloudy and we're not sure why or where it's going to bring us, that it feels right for us to go toward that direction. And so, yeah, so it's okay. It's okay to take a pause. It's okay to think that the ego is unproductive. And sometimes also we can learn to play music, to discover ourselves, to learn about ourselves, our new taste. Because when we are condition. It's like we're doing things to please others, either parents, either social recognition, or to apply for a job. But when we're on our own, it's just time to sing within ourselves and see what's alive, what do we want to nourish within ourselves, that it's, and maybe we don't know, but I feel that a lot of artists discover their true passion when they were allowed to be empty for some time. And this is a choice that we have. The choice is to follow our mind, ego, conditioning, or our intuition, the divine, or the heart, or inner guru, I call it. How do you connect with this sharing? And tell me if you have similar experience. And yeah, if you find that this kind of material or the sharing is nourishing you, feel free to follow or subscribe so you can have more of it. And I feel that it's not the most entertaining kind of material, at least not the way that we're used to consume YouTube video in 2025. But at the same time, I feel that there's depth in what I'm sharing, and so I'm not here to blast dopamine to the ego, but it's I'm trying to reach the people who are ready to reach their core, to reach the soul purpose, the soul within each other, that needs different kind of nourishment than just like flashy stuff. Hope you like it. You like it. If you did like it, click on it and help me to spread this message. And I'll see you tomorrow in the next video.